Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Halloween to you all. And to those of you who don't celebrate Halloween, too bad. Anyway, today we're going to be going over the 4-cable method using this Pod X3 Live and this ValveKing right here. So let's get into it, shall we? Alright, so let's go over some of the things concerning a 4-cable method. So I'm going to put up a diagram for you guys on the screen. You basically want this cable right here. You want that cable to come from your guitar, or if you're running through a wireless unit, that's going to come from that and it's going to go into the board. And then after that, you're going to have this right here. That's going to be going into the effects return in the amp. And then this one right here is going to go into the send of the amp. And so the amp's going to send a signal into the effects return, and then the effects return is going to go straight into the amp input. And I'm going to throw that diagram up for you guys. So basically what you have is a loop of tone. So depending on how you want your setup to be, so like I have it running from my amp is automatically on the distortion channel. You can set it up so that it's on your clean channel, and then somebody had asked me in the comments if you could actually do channel switching, and you actually can. I didn't realize it for the longest time, but then eventually I figured it out. So this tone 2 foot switch right here, this helps you toggle on and off the effects loop. So in this situation, this scenario, I have my distortion dirty channel. That's my lead 1, and then when I hit this button, it turns that off and it goes into my clean channel. And let me actually plug in so you guys can hear that. Alright, so that's my dirty channel. When I hit this tone 2, that turns off. So you can channel switch. There's just a specific way to do it. And like I said, if you were set up on your clean channel on your amp, when you were on the first tone, that effects loop comes on depending on where you start from. So if you start in your clean, that'll be on. But if you hit this button, that'll go to your dirty channel. So there's multiple ways you can do it, but that's how I have it set up because I use my distortion more than I use cleans. And so, you know, you can have other presets. So right here on my lead 2, I usually have it set up with a delay and a reverb, and then you can hit save, and you basically there's so much you could do here. I'm gonna actually, let's do this. I'm gonna start with a whole new setup. So this one right here, there's nothing on. It's just straight up. I'm not running through the amp or anything. It's just straight up clean. But once I turn this loop on, then you have dirty. So the way I have it set up on these channels, so I have my gate to shut my guitar up when I'm not playing, and then I usually like to throw in an overdrive or like a screamer. What I have, this is like an Ibanez tube screamer model that's in front of the amp, and then behind that in the chain I basically have a preamp. This preamp goes into the dirty channel, and I know it's kind of repetitive to have two preamps, but I like getting that really crispy, clear, tight distortion. And I basically just have the volume all the way up on that, and then what I have here is an EQ for this preamp. So I have, whoops, let me go back to that. So I have a very specific setup for, you know, my frequencies, where I want them to be pushed, and where I want to drop out, like especially the low end. Sometimes I get some really beefy sounds and it sounds kind of sludgy, and I'm not really a fan of that tone. And then you'll notice on the preamp, the drive is all the way down. That is the distortion that's going to come from the preamp. I don't want any of that. I want it to come straight from the head. And that's basically it for my lead channel. For my clean channel, I have a compressor that I also have a preamp pushing the preamps in my head, so that I have, you know, just a really crystal clear signal. And then I have a compressor to kind of even out all the notes that I'm playing. And I also have a gate. I know I don't really need one on the clean channel, but you just never know. I find that it also tightens up my tone. And I have a delay that I set up. You can actually tap your delay count in too. So right now I have it on 130 BPMs, and you can set the note. So this one I have a dotted 8 note. And then so my lead channel, I also have a second tone for this lead channel. I have a crunch tone for that nice, you know, country rocker type of stuff. This one actually, it has a modulator also, so just, it's nice for some really weird stuff that I like to do. And then you have this one. I actually, what I normally do is, you can blend these tones. If you hold this button down, it'll blend both of the tones, so that for this channel right here, and then this one, when you hold it down, you can blend it and you get some really interesting swells. Oh wait, it's not even blended. There you go. You can go from like a clean into a dirty. Oh yeah, and another reminder, guys, when you are when you're plugged into an amp head, you want to make sure, first of all, you want to make sure that your amp head is sending its load into either a speaker cabinet, like I am doing here. If your amp does not have a speaker defeat, like this one does, you want to make sure you have a load box or just a cabinet to send that into. But right here, you see this amp, the live out, it says amp and it says line. So you can actually record DI through this pedal if you just want to go through the pedal. But since I have it going into an amp, I don't want it to just destroy my tubes by sending out this massive signal, so I have it that it's going into an amp head. And then there's a ground lift up here for your direct out. If you're getting some weird hum or, I don't know, And then over here you have a guitar pad, in pad, which I don't really use that. I don't really know what that's for, but I don't know. You guys can leave your comments below and let me know. Anyway, so that's basically all the tones there. Now let me point you over to the amp and show you what my setup is like over here. So basically on the amp, I have I'm running into my active input just because there's power coming from that that multi-effects pedal, and if you're not careful, you can ruin your head and your tubes. So I have my volume where I would have it if this wasn't plugged in and I wanted to get the best tone out of this amp. Same for my dirty channel. And then I have my bass dropped back just for recording purposes. I don't want to take up a lot of the bass frequency, so I drop that back. I kind of push the mids a little bit, and I really push the top end. And then the verb on the amp is all the way down. The resonance is at a 3 because I find that when I push it up to a 6 or a 7, it gets kind of muddy. And then my presence is at a 6.5. My clean is completely flat across the top because I have it equalized over on the pedal. But yeah, this amp is really awesome because I can do all of my studio recording. I can basically shut off the amp. I mean not the amp, the speaker cabinet, because it has a speaker defeat, and I can record direct out, and it basically has a cabinet simulator on the back of the cab. I'll post a picture of that, or you can look it up online, doesn't matter. But this is the Peavey ValveKing 100. This is the ValveKing II. So if you guys are interested in this amp, pick it up. It's an awesome deal. Like I will never ever sell this amp, and I don't ever regret buying it. This one has 6 L6s in it. Sounds freaking awesome. Eventually I want to change it, swap them out for EL34s. I really like, you know, like just that British modern distortion. And yeah, that's basically it, guys. Using the 4-cable method is super easy. Just, I mean, like, there's a whole bunch of people that will buy these really, really expensive pedals, you know, because they want to sound the best of the best. And I think, you know, that's great when you have if you have the money for it, and you know you're touring and you know you're playing with all these big bands. That's awesome. You know, kudos to you. But when you're a guy like me and you record from home and you're kind of on a budget and you're not really, like, I'm not playing in a band anymore. I'm just doing this just for the YouTube channel and for pleasure. It's very easy to get good tone from this pedal, as well as this amp. This amp's really not that expensive. You can go on American Musical Supply, which is where I bought it from, and you can make monthly payments on it. And I literally finished paying this off probably like a year ago now. So, best money I've ever spent, best bang for your buck. Yeah, as far as the rest of my studio setup here, like I've mentioned before, I have this Behringer soundboard. Here's my Shure wireless, and I'll actually have another Marshall amp head. It's like a Lead 15. It's like one of those dinky like solid state amps. That actually sounds really good. Eventually I want to do a review on that, but I don't know, time will tell. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This Pod X3 Live was actually given to me by a very good friend of mine. I used to work with him, and I used to work with his wife at the Beehive Cafe in Bristol. And he knew I was gigging, and he was like, "Hey man, do you want a pedal board? It's a multi-effects pedal board." And I was gonna give him like $150 for it, because I know how expensive these things are, brand new. And he was just like, "No, dude, don't even worry about it. Like, you need it." So I took it, and it's the best decision I've ever made. And he's the most awesome person for giving this thing to me for free. But anyway, yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If this was helpful at all to any of you, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Comment on anything that you felt I should have said that I didn't say. Just please subscribe. It'll help out a lot. Anyway, we'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.